Ah, look at that. Everything complete? All of these worlds in Sunrise Spring are now complete. And if you didn't notice there real quick, there's no music. Why isn't there any music? But as I was saying, the Sparks world actually winds up on a page, and well, if you noticed and you paid attention to whatever episode it was that we started off here, well, you might have seen the sign that indicated that we have another one, and yeah, the pieces start to fall into place. So there's going to be, well, I mean, you already know if you looked very carefully at the guidebook as well. There are other worlds, so one for every world, so 4. I mean, this is not exactly spoilers. The game does give this away. Anyway, we are in Ice Peak. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ice Peak. Ice Peak is an interesting level. Yeah, nothing. It's kind of weird because this is kind of your main introduction into, well, Spyro's ice physics. And this bear will get mad at you if you try to tell him that you, yeah. Okay, I just needed to turn down my headphone briefly so that the music was not pounding in my brain, and hopefully it was not loud enough already if you could hear it. Because I tried to turn it down before I started, but apparently that was even not enough. Anyway, you might notice here that, well, when we were shooting away at the ice block, we found ourselves a whirlwind here, which we can use to glide our way over to this platform over here and get a measly 4 gems. Sounds about right. Yeah, there's a lot of hidden stuff in this level. It kind of reminds me a bit of Wizard Peak from the first Spyro game. There's a lot of secret paths, a lot of hidden things, and one actually really cool hidden thing, but also there's a couple annoying things too, namely what happens with these TNT containers. Right now you kind of have to blow them up, and you do have to blow them up, by the way. There are gems inside of them, so don't forget about that. You do indeed need to blow them up. They don't appear very often though, so don't worry too much about them if you're worried about them like appearing in other levels. But yeah, TNT containers plus ice physics can mean bad things. Yeah. You see where I'm going with this? I hope you do, and if not, you will be seeing shortly. But anyway, as you can see here, yeah, you see these little creatures, and you can be hurt by TNT. Yeah, they're suicide bombers. They bring the boxes as close to you as possible and try to blast your face up with them, and you obviously can take damage. So your best bet is to just light them on fire and hope for the best, honestly. But if you're good with it, if you manage to somehow be good enough with it, you can use the TNT to your advantage as well. Like so. Yeah, that's how you work it. So if you can do it, it's a pretty good way to actually get some easy kills on the ice, because, well, ice physics in Spyro games kind of sucks. But yeah, so you're just going to kind of contend with that. Also, there's one little detail here that I really like that they did with this level. The enemies have an extended animation for when they fall off the cliff of their voice. Yeah, and that one triggers right there, just because you can knock him off the bigger cliff, and the game thinks that he's falling all the way. But yeah, there's a second half of the voice clip that will actually play should you choose to knock them all the way off the cliff, which is just kind of a really, really nice touch, in my opinion. Anyway, we have another cannon here, and yeah, make sure you blow up the chest with that, because, well, you need to. Cannon controls are pretty simple. You use the joystick to aim and then press the fire button to, well, fire away. Also, yes, make sure you take out the birds as well with the cannon, because they, as you just saw, have gems in them. You don't want to be missing gems from the birds, and yes, they're a pain in the butt, but you still have to do it anyway if you want 100%. You might notice here that there are gems actually under the lake. Those are not reflections, there's actually gems under there, and I will show you how to get them in a little bit. It's a nice little secret that actually took me a very long time to figure out how to do as a kid. But ultimately, I think it's actually pretty cool. No pun intended. Yes, I know it's a nice level. I did not mean to say that. Also, yeah, I don't know why it took them until Midday Gardens to start putting the head bash things in the Spyro levels, because it doesn't make any sense to me when we had it from the get-go, and it makes me wonder, did they actually plan to have the head bash thing be unlocked again? Which would explain a couple things. It would explain why that one egg was kind of there. So it might have been like a head bash tutorial, or like you come back after you get head bashed to do it. Like, you know what I'm talking about? That one dragon and the rock in the very, very first level of the game, the first homeworld. I don't know. It just kind of makes me kind of curious to kind of think about what they went through. Because if you remember back to Spyro 2, which, I mean, I'm assuming you know on your own, and if you haven't watched my Let's Play of it, well, that was 5 years ago, so I don't blame you, because I've obviously changed a lot about the way I do this since then. But, yeah. Well, I managed to take out one of the explodey rat mice things with it. But yeah, so I just actually managed to use that here to my advantage. Actually, no, I didn't. I didn't manage to actually kill the guy with it. Close enough. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting to think about, you know, how the game kind of developed. And I know that there's not as... Like, I don't think there's a lot of things known about Spyro 3's development for the most part, other than the fact that there was a little demo of it. But I think for the most part, except for Spyro 1, all of the demos were very similar to the final game. There's not a lot different. And I mean, for those of you who aren't familiar, that don't know what I'm talking about with the demo versions of the game, is that the most Crash games and most Spyro games have a demo for a game in the other series. So, Spyro 3 and it has a demo for... Is it Crash Team Racing? I'm gonna say. I don't know for sure off the top of my head. I can go look that up real quick. Yeah, it actually wasn't Crash Team Racing. I just looked it up. The advantage of having post-commentary is I can cut as I please. But, yeah. It was actually Crash Bash, of all things, had a demo, which was a little... Oh god, I haven't played Crash Bash in years, but from what I recall, it was kind of like a, I want to say a Smash Brothers clone, but not exactly. It was like a weird, like, half-fighting game, but I feel like it was like somewhere between Smash and Mario Party, if memory serves. And again, I haven't played that game in years. I mean, I've played it, but my god, I don't know, the last time I touched that game, I had to have been in the single-digit number of age. It's been some time. I think I have a copy of it somewhere that I could probably pull. I don't know, maybe I could try to boot that up eventually and just go nostalgia cam and just see what I remember. I don't recall there really being any point to the game, but not that that would stop me from playing anything. If I have the disc over, you know what? Might as well. There's an idea for a future project, me. Maybe go try to find your Crash Bash disc. Because the setup I'm using right now runs just as easily for actual physical discs, assuming I would find my physical working disc and that it works. And I have done that before. I have played around with this emulator here and actually using physical discs. The only downside is that a lot of my PS1 games, because I took terrible care of them as a kid, have not survived to whatever year this is now, 2017. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, my preferred method of playing these is usually actually on PSP or Vita, actually, because they did release the Spyro series on Vita, but I think they took it off pretty quickly because of some problems that I don't see. But because they made PS Classics that are available for the most part on the Vita, PSP, PS3, PS4. But, oh, here's the secret. Boom, head bash in there. But for whatever reason, the PSP can play it fine. The PS3, a lot of the games lag, particularly 3. 3 lags pretty badly. I think 2 lags a little bit. I think 1 played pretty much fine. I'm assuming that the PS4 plays them pretty well, but I don't own a PS4, so don't take my word for it. But, like, I mean, these were the main things I actually played on my PSP as a kid, you know, not like any of the actual PSP games. I don't actually own very many PSP games, to be completely honest. Anyway, let's go get our A to B egg here, which gives us use of the gondola, so we can very easily get back up here without having to shoot all the ice blocks down, should we wind up leaving the level. And speaking of leaving the level, due to a little bit of a recording mishap, I actually had to leave the level a little bit, so we'll get to see in just a little bit what actually happens when you wind up having to save and quit in the middle of a level. Because it's not quite yet. Is that the next part? That might be the next part. Yeah, it is the next part, because I'm just doing some exploring here. This level is kind of a little bit longer. It's a little bit on the longer side, so I actually decided to split it up into 2 different parts. But yeah, so now we have another secret here. So we can go back over here, and we can find ourselves some more gems and a life, which are always a good thing, even though I really don't see the point of having lives and 3D platformers that you own, because nobody runs video games anymore. But anyway, we get another whirlwind out here, And we get to glide all the way over here in this egg in the middle of nowhere. This is Reese. Yeah, I don't know. But lives just don't really make much sense to me in the modern video game world, especially because in most games they don't really punish you for running out of lives. It's more of an inconvenience than actual punishment, which is one thing that I actually respect very well, that they actually did very well later in the Spyro series. And I'm talking like the later GBA ones. Oh god, I ran out of episode to commentate on. Oops.